Good evening, and thank you so much for being with us. Families in a local neighborhood say they are being terrorized by a pack of dogs. People living in the Delmare area near Menger Elementary and Incarnate Word Academy report several attacks on their pets. Emily Hamilton is out there live this evening. Emily, we do understand that neighbors are kind of calling it the Delmare dog pack.
They have, Jen, and we do want to warn you that some of the video you're about to see is graphic. We're here on Breezeway Avenue, where, as you can see just over my shoulder, Corpus Christi Animal Care Services have set out dog traps in hopes of catching these aggressive dogs, but so far they've had no luck, leaving homeowners here frantic. Family pets turning up dead in the Delmare area, and residents say a pack of vicious dogs is to blame.
Dogs like chase. Every dog likes chase. They like to run, they like to chase, but now they've tasted blood and now they're killing.
2 weeks ago, Melody Mauch's cat Cece went missing, only to find him severely injured and mangled in her neighbor's yard. He was treated by vets, but died a week later from his injuries.
It's awful. It's just awful. I mean, I've just been crying for like 2 weeks straight. He was part of my life. He was a huge part of my life.
In home surveillance video obtained by another neighborhood pet owner, you can see a cat trying to get away from multiple dogs, then brutally attacked. That woman struggled to rescue her cat, but he died minutes later before she could ever get him to the vet. Mike Gillis, director of Animal Care Services, says he's working to catch the animals responsible for these attacks.
We have set 3 traps in the neighborhood on 2 different residents' properties. I check them 3 times a day.
Melody Mauch said she's concerned a student walking home from school could be next.
It could be a small child. We don't know what sets them off. They're on the hunt now, and they have a taste for blood.
Jen, it hasn't been determined just yet where these dogs are coming from or whether or not they belong to someone or if they're strays. Now, on Thursday afternoon at 3 o'clock, Corpus Christi Animal Care Services will meet with these concerned residents as well as District 2 Councilman Ben Molina about this issue. At this time, no dogs have been caught and nobody has been cited for these dogs on the loose.
This is really an interesting outcome here from the bankruptcy filing. Is this the new face of Detroit here, stray dogs?
Well, it's the face, Betty, of any city with declining public finances and thousands of abandoned homes. But in Detroit, you have additional aspect, and that is that pit bulls dominate. Dogs are making dens of boarded-up homes. As many as 50,000 stray canines are roaming the city, but they have far fewer dog catchers.
There was at least 16, 17 officers doing the job that we're doing today. And worse, the terrain was a lot nicer, a lot better. So we have worse terrain to work with and very few people.
So he has a budget of $1.6 million. He has 4 officers to cover 139 square mile city, 7 days a week. That's 11 fewer than when Ward took command in 2008. He has 1 dog bite investigator, down from 3. Now in Detroit, there's some 70,000 vacant buildings. Dogs are sometimes chained there to ward off thieves. Betty, this is in a city with 700,000 inhabitants, down from its peak of 1.8 million. Detroit has $18 billion in long-term debt and an operating deficit of $400 million. The city pound stopped accepting dogs in July because it hadn't paid its bill for hauling away euthanized animals. Making matters worse, pit bulls and their lines dominate the stray population of the city because of widespread dog fighting in Detroit. Now, Betty, one hedge on this: these aren't feral dogs that have never had any human contact. They are mostly strays. They form around a female in heat, but it's bad enough that mail service has stopped in some neighborhoods. 25 postal workers have been bitten by dogs from October to July, and Betty, they deliver the mail with pepper spray in hand.
Back in Slavic Village, speaking out tonight, warning if the dogs aren't found, they will hurt, maybe even kill somebody else. Now we're learning from Cleveland police the same day that family was attacked outside their home in Slavic Village, a 7-year-old was also attacked in that area just an hour later and taken to Rainbow Babies and Children's Hospital. News 5's Jesse Schultz in the newsroom right now with more.
Yeah, we're working to learn more about that 7-year-old, but I did speak to a victim of the other attack that happened on Tuesday. She's still in the hospital and says despite the pain, she wanted to speak out in hopes the dogs are found soon. Angelina Negron has a long road of recovery ahead of her.
Right now, I don't even know what I'm going to be able to do when I am going to go back to work to take care of my kids. What am I going to do to have a normal life again?
The events of Tuesday night are still a bit of a blur, but she knows she and her grandmother are lucky to be alive.
My grandma is really bad, terrible. She's in so much pain.
Around 8 o'clock, she and a friend were picking up her daughters from her grandmother's house on Meade Avenue in Cleveland. They noticed a pack of about 6 dogs in the distance, but didn't think much of it. While getting her daughter into the car, she says she felt a bite on her leg.
I pushed her in the car, and I thought that I was going to be able to get myself in the car too.
Kicking and screaming, she tried to get the dog off, but others joined in. That's when her 75-year-old grandma ran outside with a pot of hot water from the kitchen and threw it on the dogs. But they turned on her. Talia Enriquez, Angeli's cousin, says their grandma tried to go back inside the house, but fell.
They just latched on and they was not letting go. The other dog was circling to go towards my grandmother's neck, and it was actually dragging her off the little porch she had.
She says that's when their friend began hitting the dogs with her car, and they finally let go. Talia got their grandma in the house.
I'm yelling, grab me a towel, grab me something. I had to wrap my grandmother's leg as tight as I can to just stop the bleeding.
EMT came and transported Angeli and her grandma to the hospital, but in the chaos of it all, the dogs left. Family members managed to take these videos of some of the pack while leaving. Notice they have collars on.
These dogs was trained. They were not random strays that was just loose.
Angeli has deep wounds all over her legs and her arm. One bite so deep it broke her elbow. She says the doctors told their family their grandma would have lost her foot if the dog bit just an inch deeper. And now, as they try to recover from the trauma, they are demanding the dogs be found.
The dogs being out there, they're still on the loose. They have not been caught, captured, and I don't want this to happen to nobody else.
Now, as far as where those dogs went, Cleveland police say that is something that Animal Care and Control investigate. But when I asked Animal Care and Control, I was told they weren't aware of any attacks. However, members of Angeli's family did show me a notice they received from the Animal Control Department shortly after the attack. We will continue to follow up on all of this. Reporting in the newsroom, Jassy Schultz, News 5.
Dogs euthanized over the weekend after that vicious and deadly attack last week involving at least 2 of those animals.
But those aren't the only ones wandering loose on San Antonio streets. Garrett Berger takes a look at the city's pervasive problems with stray dogs, many of them with a home to return to.
The sight of loose dogs isn't exactly strange in San Antonio. For Francis Flores on the west side, it's not even a concern anymore.
At first when we didn't know, but since they're always around now, they don't bite, and so it doesn't make a difference anymore.
That wasn't the case Friday, where an 81-year-old man was killed by at least 2 pit bulls less than 2 miles away. Deadly consequences like that may be rare, but the problem is not. Of the more than 87,000 calls for service ACS got last budget year, spokeswoman says a large portion were for loose animals, with fewer than 30 ACS officers on duty at any one time to handle it.
If you look at that math, it's going to come into play when it comes down to response time.
In the same time frame, the city had nearly 3,600 recorded bites, although that includes any time that any animal breaks someone's skin or someone's exposed to high-risk wildlife.
The 3 dogs that ACS euthanized have been involved in a combination of 3, possibly 4 bite incidents before this one. But an ACS spokeswoman says they can't just take someone's dogs.
Because remember, pets are property in the state of Texas, so I cannot take somebody's property away from them.
The dogs went through quarantine, but ended up back with the owner. At least one of the incidents may have been serious enough to warrant a dangerous dog investigation, which could have led to stricter requirements for the owner. But ACS didn't have a witness or victim willing to fill out the necessary affidavit. Bottom line, the agency says it followed the law.
If there's changes that the community wants to the law, that's something that is external to ACS.
Friday's incident has made Flores more concerned about keeping her pit bull, named Warning, properly secured. because many of those loose dogs you see belong to someone.
Put it to you like this. My responsibility would be my dog, and that should have been his responsibility. You know what I mean?
Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News.
Shasta County Sheriff's Office is still searching for a pack of wolf-dog hybrids that attacked and killed a dog. They say it happened in the Shenandoah Drive and Lake Macomber area in Shingletown.
Security cam video shows the 7 wolf dog hybrids on the loose there. Action News Now reporter Taylor Helms breaks down the state of the search today.
The Shasta County Sheriff's Office animal control deputies alongside City of Shasta Lake animal control officers are here on scene at this home on Shenandoah Drive where the remaining of those wolf dog hybrids are still on the property. I did see the owner drive by earlier this afternoon. He is not home, but the Shasta County Sheriff's Office does have a warrant now.
Obviously, people have realized this has been an ongoing operation. Like I've said in the days past, this is something that the Sheriff's Office was actively working on. I think today you're seeing the results of when we were saying that, we really were.
Today, at least 1 adult dog and a few puppies were seized from the property, but there are still a few adult dogs left. The Shasta County Sheriff's Office says they'll keep coming out to the property until they get all of the dogs. A next-door neighbor tells me these dogs have been a problem for the past 2 years, but it wasn't until the pack killed another neighbor's dog, Chief, that they realized how dangerous the threat was. Chief's owner, Sharina Clark, says she's just glad the Sheriff's Office is out here working on seizing the dogs.
Yesterday evening, early evening, there was about five animal control and sheriff trucks that were up here with a whole crew and squad of different people involved. They came with a warrant, which was huge progress to acquire or get all of the dogs, all the adult dogs and all the puppies from the property.
Tim Mapes, the public information officer for the Shasta County Sheriff's Office, says they're committed to capturing all of the dogs, but until they do, neighbors are allowed to take matters into their own hands and defend themselves.
Tonight, a warning about a pack of dogs right here that's threatening a neighborhood in Orange County. This video shows one of the most recent attacks. It's all happening in the Lockhart area on Bayberry Court. Fox 35's Danielle Lama is live in that area right now. So, Danielle, this pack attacked what seemed to be out of the blue.
Yeah, the victim was just down the block from his house when he says these dogs came out of nowhere and started attacking. Surveillance cameras captured it all. Here you see the 4 loose dogs surround Steve Weaver and his dog Thunder on Bayberry Court. Then at least 2 of the dogs appear to start biting Thunder.
My first reaction was to try to, get the dogs away. And you'll see that on the video, that even in fighting, I even went down on my knees low to try to get the dogs off.
Thunder sprints away and Weaver is left on the ground. The loose dogs then taking off.
A couple of them were husky type dogs, and it happened so fast I really can't say what the other ones were.
About 1.5 miles away on Wallington Drive that same morning, Marlene Argueta tells Fox 35 a pack of husky-looking dogs attacked her cats in the carport. She says she tried to get the cats to safety in her house, and the dogs followed her inside. She says her cat Dixie died from severe injuries. Both Argueta and Weaver say they contacted Orange County Animal Services. We saw officers out in the neighborhood today.
He was definitely attacked pretty badly.
Thunder received several staples for dog bites. Weaver is trying to spread the word about what happened so that no other animals get hurt.
Thunder is like a member of the family. He was rescued from Orange County last year, and he's been a really good dog for sure. So I don't want anything to happen to him.
Well, Weaver says that these dogs didn't have on collars, but they looked more like pets as opposed to living on the street or wild dogs. One neighbor does tell me that he has seen those huskies out loose in this neighborhood before. We are live in Orange County. Danielle Lama, Fox 35 News.
Greenville County Animal Control is working to stop a pack of dogs roaming in parts of West Greenville that are killing farm animals and pets.
Neighbors tell us this has been happening for months now. Our Peyton Furtado is live learning more about how this is impacting the people and the animals in that region. Peyton.
Yeah, Sydney, Greenville County Animal Control says they've been patrolling this area on Whitehorse Road and Anderson Road now, setting traps so far in vain, unable to do much else. Bill Hall lives in that area and says he doesn't know where else to turn.
When Bill Hall and his wife retired, they dreamt of running a small farm and bought a plot of land near their home in 2006. They started with chickens.
I bought an incubator and had my granddaughter hatch them out in her bedroom.
And to continue bonding with their granddaughter, they raised baby goats. Little did they know it would be short-lived.
Greenville is growing so fast, and the growth is generating a lot of unintended consequences. So wild dogs who may have stayed in the more wooded areas in the past, as more and more people come in, wild animals are being pushed more and more and coming into closer proximity with humans.
On one July morning, Hall took his dogs for a walk near the fenced-in goat pasture and spotted a dog jumping the fence. The pasture was covered in blood, feathers, and fur.
The remnants of the massacre.
He found 14 chickens were grabbed by the neck and bitten, and the goats?
Billy goat, mama goat, and 2 babies just slaughtered.
And even after installing more security measures, this happened again later when Hall caught the dogs on camera after they'd killed 4 hogs along with the neighbor's sheep and pony, injuring 2 donkeys.
They're not eating them. They didn't eat anything, they just killed them. These dogs are running loose.
Nearby neighbors like the Zion Hill Baptist Church are staying cautious, worried these are wild dogs that could become a greater danger.
We have a playground that the kids play on. We're concerned that the dogs could come in there at any time and maybe attack some children.
At this point, we don't know if this is an isolated incident involving wild dogs or if these dogs belong to someone and are getting out or being let out at night. In Greenville County, you are required by law to keep your dogs on your property fenced in or on a leash outside of your property. If you see a wild animal or a dangerous animal, you're always asked to immediately call animal control. Live in Greenville County, I'm Peyton Furtado for
County. The fiscal court says a large pack of dogs attacked a 2-year-old child.
Leaders there say the dogs are still on the loose. We're told crews airlifted the child to the hospital. County leaders say around 10 large dogs, possibly a coyote as well, attacked the child in the Johnny Hollow area of Rockholds. Animal Control is now searching for those dogs. If you spot them, do not approach them. Call 911.
Happening now, a pack of dogs roaming the streets in the outskirts of Fresno is causing trouble and heartache for local families. Action News reporter Cassandra Gutierrez is live southwest of
Lauren, this pack of dogs have been roaming the streets here on the countryside of Fresno, including the road I'm seeing on right now. They've already attacked 3 dogs and killed 2 of them. Now devastated families are hoping something gets done.
Surveillance video from Monday shows the moments before this pack of 5 dogs dragged 7 Charlie was loving the rescue and waiting in the fight. Kathy Eargut's family was fenced in, but the pack of dogs still managed to dig a hole and drag Charlie out.
They lose a dog, but to lose him this way, we have no peace. This is our peace and our tranquility. This is what we do. We live here.
The Eargut family rescued Charlie as a puppy. They say he was a happy dog and believed he died trying to protect his sibling, who is another rescue, 15-month-old boxer Lucy.
We can deal with a death of a dog, but the way he got pulled out of his own yard and torn up to pieces, like not even just, they wanted more. and they kept coming back. They came back at 10 o'clock that night.
And they are not alone. Just a few minutes down the road, another pet was attacked and killed by the same pack of dogs. This was Albert's pet, a 100-pound English bulldog. Now both families fear these dogs will continue to hurt other pets, or even worse.
Because it could be a child playing in the yard and a group of 6 dogs, there's no hope. There's no hope for the child.
The family urges people who seize these dogs to call Fresno Animal Humane Services. We'll have that number on our website. We did reach out to them. They referred us to public health, and we're waiting to hear back.
A warning tonight about packs of stray dogs after a number of bite cases have been reported in the city in just the last week. 3 of those cases taking place at Delmare College's Heritage Campus at Ayers and Baldwin. Officials there also putting out a safety advisory for students and staff to remain vigilant. Our Bill Churchwell spoke with 2 victims tonight who are sharing their story in hopes of bringing light to the problem. He joins us now on 3 News at 10 with those details. Bill?
And Mike, tonight, as I learned, this is a citywide issue. And while I was interviewing one of those victims, the group of dogs that attacked him came back a second time, and our cameras were rolling.
It could have been worse. I mean, if it happened to me, it could happen to anybody.
63-year-old Luciano Quintanilla considers himself lucky, showing us the bite wounds to his leg after he says he was approached by a pack of aggressive dogs here at Hibiscus and Highland Avenue near Port as he walked back home from the bus stop Thursday evening.
When they went to attack me, I was fighting them off, and it bit me. It made me lose my balance.
He says he fell on one of the dogs, and that's when another one went in, taking another bite.
When I was going down, I just said, oh my God, I'm gonna die.
Luciano said his neighbor came over to help get the dogs off, and an ambulance was called out to treat his wounds. How many dogs would you say there were?
About 4.
He says animal control was also called, but they were not able to locate the dogs. It was during our interview when some of those dogs came back.
That's one of them right there. And that one right there.
These are the dogs?
What's up, buddy? What's up?
A third one also approached. They all eventually left. Luciano still is worried.
I just want somebody to do something about it because, I mean, there's kids.
The issue citywide. This picture was sent to 3 News of a pack of dogs spotted at the corner of Norton and Ramsey Street this week. For high school senior, 17-year-old Charles Vela, what started as a normal Valentine's Day quickly took a turn.
When I noticed a pack of around 6 dogs running through the parking lot.
The collegiate high school senior was leaving a dual credit class here at Delmare College's Heritage Campus.
When out of nowhere, like, boom, I'm bitten before I even know it. So then I jump and I scream in pain, and then I look at the dog, kind of anticipating what it's going to do next.
Within seconds, the dogs took off, leaving him bleeding and with 4 puncture wounds. Charles sharing these pictures of his injury as he received treatment for it. Today, still pretty sore, but he felt it was important to speak out.
We felt obligated to let people know because we know that there's actually there's older people there on campus.
3 News has learned his incident is one of 3 bite cases that have happened in the last week at Delmare. An advisory from officials there has been sent out.
Increased our patrol. We have reached out to animal control. We're also working with the city to come up with ways that we can be proactive in how we might be able to assist animal control in getting these dogs picked up.
Miguel Escobar at Animal Care Services says they are aware of recent bite cases and are actively patrolling for those loose dogs.
Throughout the city, what we're seeing for these specific packs of dogs that are popping up is we have lots of female dogs in heat that are attracting, unaltered males.
Escobar is asking for dog owners to make sure their animals are not getting out and is sending out a reminder that they could face fines, not only for them being off a leash, but also not being fixed.
Right now, if you do want your animal to be intact, you do need a permit. If not, you're applicable for citations.
And tonight, Charles, the teen I spoke with, says they had hoped to find the dog to test it for rabies, but he says he will now have to go and get a rabies shot. Animal Care Services is also asking folks not to approach any packs of dogs, even if they appear friendly. And if you do see a pack, to call 311.
So tonight, neighbors in Northeast Atlanta say they're afraid to go outside. They say these dogs right here have attacked them more than once. Channel 2's Audrey Washington went to Armand Park in Northeast Atlanta, where one woman told her she got attacked while riding her bike.
Blood-curdling screaming.
Carla Welsh says she won't soon forget the fear and pain.
Felt like an ice pick stabbing in my leg.
She tells me in June these two dogs attacked her while she was riding her bike. Wednesday afternoon, she explained how she tried to fight them off.
They kept staring at me and circling me, and I tried to use my bike kind of between them.
Carla says the white dog seen in these pictures bit her on the leg. Then she learned she wasn't the only victim. Anna Hart says she had to rescue her 3-year-old son from the same two dogs.
Like snarling out at him like he was about to pounce, maul him.
And Dorothy Sussman says in January, the same white dog bit a park volunteer.
Bitten in the arm and the leg.
All three women believe the dogs belong to a man named James Mancini. They say the dogs often wander away from the man's outdoor encampment site. It's located right behind Armand Park, not too far away from a number of encampments near Cheshire Bridge Road in Northeast Atlanta. The women called animal control, but say the dogs are still around.
We have seen them several times since then.
Wednesday, we asked Animal Services about the complaints. In a statement, a representative wrote in part, quote, the two documented cases were in 2020 and the owner complied with the quarantine. There was another incident in 2023. However, the description of the bit dog did not match the description of James Mancini's dogs. With that being said, Officer Traylor and Officer Wyatt set patrol for that area and no loose dogs were found.
That's the dog. That is the dog.
Carla says she's sure the man's dog attacked her.
The dog is an aggressive dog. For some reason, the dog wants to bite people.
I'm Audrey Washington, WSB Tonight.
Audrey tried to contact the owner of the dogs, who was mentioned in that animal control report, but his number was not in.